Welcome to the Beautifully Aligned podcast. My name is Lynn Ford, and I am a certified life coach. If you are looking to become more aligned in life, from your style to wellness to mindset to your relationships to success, then you have come to the right place. My goal for this podcast is to guide you in recognizing the boundless potential within you, empowering you to achieve anything that you aspire to be, do, or have. Thank you so much for being here today. Now, let's get into the show. Hello, and welcome back to the Beautifully Aligned podcast. So happy that you are here today. Today's episode is kind of selfishly inspired by my own stuff, and I need to hear this as much as maybe you need to hear this. So that is why I'm recording today. That is why I'm sharing what I'm sharing today, because I have been in major need of a reset. Last week, I think I shared about my getting out of a bad mood, funk, how to just reset as far as your mood goes. Go listen to that if you are in a bad mood, if you're in a funk. It is so good. I've gotten so much great feedback on that episode too. And the timing of this episode could not be more perfect because I am recording this at the very end of March. It is almost April, a fresh new month. It feels like a clean slate, like a really just clean entry to a new month, which is perfect for starting your reset. Now, you can begin your reset at any time of the day, month, year, whatever, but I just think this is kind of divine timing. So I want to start out. I do so many quotes. I guess I'm a quote girly. I share so many quotes, but I want to share a quote with you before we get into the how of how to do a reset. So here we go. This quote is from C.S. Lewis, who said, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." So with that, this episode is all about taking your experiences from the past and learning from the past to then create your future with purpose and with power, like in a very powerful way. So that's what I'm getting into today, is how to purposefully, powerfully enter into a reset. Now, this is going to be more focused on like a monthly reset, not necessarily yearly, because it's more attainable. And sometimes we can feel so overwhelmed if we're feeling like we're stuck in need of a reset. And shorter timelines just make things easier for our brains, more attainable. This is so important for me to say because I hear it from people all the time. And that is, it is never, ever too late to do a reset. Whether you are wanting to reset your entire life, from your career to your fitness, to your nutrition, to your relationships, to your finances. Like if everything feels off, if you feel terrible, if you feel like you have failed, you're failing, I'm telling you, it's never too late. It wasn't until I got my coaching certification and I shared with people what I do and started working with clients that I started hearing this from people that, oh, it's just too late. I am such a big F up. I have failed over and over again, or success doesn't come easy to me. Oh, it's too late for me. I have heard that more times than I can count, both from people I have just talked with, sharing what I do, but also from clients. And with clients, we can change that, right? Because we work together and we can make a U-turn, like YOU. It is never too late. And the quicker you can learn to make that U-turn, to pivot, the more quickly you can get back into what it is that you want to do. The quicker you will reset, the quicker you will see results. So I just want to share that. And it just breaks my heart that so many people feel this way, which is why I'm sharing this today, that hopefully if you're listening to this and you feel this way, like, oh, there's just no reset in store for me, it's too late. No, that is not true. You are lying to yourself. If anybody is telling you that, that is a projection that they are putting on you. So I just want to say that you can feel horrible, terrible, but you can also make a U-turn and turn it all around in an instant, within a minute, a second. You can turn it around. And in coaching, one of the main reasons why my clients get such amazing results through our work is, yes, through mindset work, but the work that we do and my style goes beyond mindset work. So we work through identity and self-image and self-reflection and purpose. And so some of the methods that we go into and some of the things that we work on, and of course it depends on each person's situation, but I don't only like to focus inside the mind, but also outside. So how are you carrying yourself? What is your identity? How do you style yourself? What is your home like, your environment, where you live? So we look at everything holistically. It's not just in your mind. So it goes above and beyond, which is why I think, or why I know my clients see such great results, is because we're not only focusing on mindset. All of these areas are important. I want to give you a couple of prompts as you are entering this reset. And this is the part where you're kind of learning about your past, what hasn't worked, why do you need this reset, like tapping into that. So I want you to ask yourself, what is not serving you? Maybe write a list down. Maybe it's lots of things. It could include habits that are not serving you. Like maybe you decided you want to wake up early and exercise every day, but you've been sleeping in and then waking up and having an unhealthy breakfast, and therefore you're feeling groggy and sluggish in the mornings. Maybe it's a certain thought pattern that's coming up and a limiting belief or beliefs, and challenging those limiting beliefs needs to be something that you work on. Sometimes it's letting go of people, places, things that are just weighing us down, and it can literally feel physical in that case, like it's physically weighing you down. So here's my real life example of really wanting to do this reset and really being freaking excited about the start of a new month, because I am doing this, and kind of how I came back around. I did my YOU turn fairly quickly. So I am 29 weeks pregnant as I'm recording this. And a few weeks ago, I started to feel just so freaking tired. Now, I know it's normal to feel tired in pregnancy. I get that. But I like to optimize my health. I like to make sure and ensure that I am doing everything in my power to stay healthy, to stay energized. And this pregnancy, I think I've shared very, very briefly in one or two episodes, but I was diagnosed with placenta previa, which is where the placenta is covering the cervix. And with that, I had to stop my exercise routine, which is so important to me, and it is absolutely vital for me to feel energized and healthy and happy and all of the things, to exercise every single day, even if it's just a walk. And all of that had to immediately stop when I was diagnosed. And so health issues are very, very difficult, and sometimes they're out of our control. Like, this was a total fluke thing. It was nothing that I did to cause this. It just happened. It happens to, I don't know, a very small percentage of people in pregnancy. So it has since started to resolve, and my doctor this past week lifted me off restrictions as far as exercise goes. She said I can ease back into it, and the angels were just singing when she said that. And I am so excited to get back into it, which I'm going to be doing this week as a part of my reset. So sometimes there are things not in our control, which makes this work. It can make it harder, just being honest. It can make it really hard when we have to abide by certain restrictions to keep ourselves healthy. So that was happening. And probably part of the reason that I was so tired was because I wasn't getting the physical activity. And then this part was in my control, just kind of letting my diet go a little bit and indulging, and that didn't make me feel good either. So it was kind of like a domino effect. No exercise, my eating is different, and I'm pregnant too. So the way that I was feeling physically started to impact my work and impact the things that I had planned for myself to get done that were not getting done. I have a schedule. I usually follow my schedule. I set it up. I have things I need to do, like record this podcast. I have been good about that. There are other things I have not been so great about. And when I look at why, like, get to the bottom of it, yes, the physical stuff did impact my consistency and approaching my work goals. So I went ahead and I asked myself that question that I shared with you at the beginning, to kind of reflect back as I started to feel very, very frustrated with my work stuff. And the thoughts came up. I wrote it down. I thought about it. And they were mostly thoughts that were not serving me and the reason I need this reset. And they were things like, there's a lot on my plate. I am so tired. I'll get to it next month. I'll start tomorrow. I'll schedule this tomorrow. I'll do this on Wednesday or whatever, like on a Monday. And I realized very quickly, because this is the work that I do and I can catch myself like that in an instant, with this realization, with having these thoughts, is that, oh, this is a pattern and this is my identity. And I have an identity of somebody who gets things done, who follows through. And I am not someone who does things at the very last minute. And this is why identity work is so huge, why I don't just focus on mindset. I focus on the whole person, the whole identity, and we work on your outward stuff, your environment, your style, everything, because every area of your life is a direct reflection of how you see yourself, which is the most important. And if you're seeing yourself as stuck, as overwhelmed, as sad, insert word here, you're going to start to create evidence. Like, I could have started creating more and more evidence for being tired, for not feeling great, for feeling groggy. And then it just stacks up. But when you start changing how you see yourself, you're going to start creating new evidence. And the quicker you can do this, the better. I have a client who has done so much self-development, done so much reading, so much research, and she said, I have done so much personal development work. I've done so much therapy, and yet she still felt stuck. And she told me it wasn't until I did values work with identity work to finally cut through it all. And that is the beautiful thing about identity work and values work. And they really go hand in hand. And that is exactly what happens when you wake up to create your identity, to really know your core values. And this is also what happens when you become intentional and you start listening to the future you and not the past you, and harping on the past and replaying the past and mistakes and all of these things over and over. So when you show up for your future self and expand your identity, it's just incredible. And I cannot imagine my own life without this work. It is so expansive. Yes, it is challenging, but just this client's description of how she had done so much personal development work and so much reading and therapy, which primarily focuses on, well, most modalities in therapy focus on the past to then hopefully help your future. But in coaching, it's a little bit different. We are very future focused. We barely need to touch your past. And so it's creating this identity where you are creating evidence for the person you want to be, not the person who's overwhelmed or sad or depressed or stuck. Because, like I said, you're going to find evidence for being overwhelmed, sad, and stuck, or, whatever that word is for you. Circling back to my reset, after I listed out those habits and thoughts that were going through my mind, and then reminding myself of the identity work that I'd already done, I said, let me release this month. Let me change my thoughts about this month of March so that I do not carry the same energy into April. So releasing that energy, and also just not beating yourself up over all the things you did wrong, quote unquote wrong, or the situations that came up that you didn't like, or insert whatever reason here for why you're feeling you need this reset. Do not beat yourself up about it. That's not going to do anything but make you feel worse and reinforce that identity that you don't want to associate yourself with. And this is something I want you to do. I give you permission to do it, is to celebrate your freaking wins as you are planning your reset, or anytime, really. Do it anytime. Oftentimes we are so busy, like running off, doing the next thing, focusing on family life, career life, whatever it is that's keeping us busy. We don't take the time to celebrate our wins. And our brains naturally skew more negative. So we're more likely to think about what went wrong, what negative things happened, but we don't focus on our wins. So I want you to stop. I want you to celebrate your wins, as little, as minuscule as maybe they are. Please celebrate them and look at what you've accomplished, even if it's small, because it didn't just happen. It was not just happenstance. You created that win. Now, beyond celebrating that win, and yes, I want you to celebrate your wins as big or small as they are, because that is so important. It's going to help you reinforce who that person is that achieved that win. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to dissect it. Why did you have that win? Ask yourself why. Why did you have it? What did you do differently? What What were your thoughts? What were the habits that were going on in your life when you achieved that win? And then ask yourself, who was I being when I had that win? Because you probably want more of that, right? You probably want that more ingrained in your self-image, in your identity. This is a huge question to ask yourself. So many times doing goal setting or resets or getting into a new routine, you hear all day long about how to set a goal, about why it's important to be healthy or whatever it is, But this identity work and knowing your values is the freaking key to actually resetting, to actually achieving the goals, to actually seeing the changes and the fulfillment long term, like lasting success. So that is why I'm harping on this. Like, who was I being? Because once you know that, you're going to continue to create wins and successes for yourself and create this evidence for yourself that this is who you are. This is how you get things done. This is how your life is, which is what you're wanting to see, right? So as I personally enter this new month and this new reset for myself, I have fresh goals. I've revisited my goals that I had before that kind of fell off. I've refined them. I have reflected on what wasn't working. I've given myself grace. I have focused on the identity work that I do with my clients and obviously do with myself. And then what I plan to do is check in every single day. So what do I mean by that? I am going to ask myself, am I off track? Am I on track to achieve this goal every single day? Why? Because when we break it up into smaller pieces, not looking at a whole 30-day period, if we're looking at it day by day, it's more attainable. Having these check-ins, it's almost like a game. I love to think about it like an experiment or a game. So I ask, am I off track? If I'm off track, why? And then kind of dig back into that work. It becomes just this fun experiment. So as you reset, as you refine maybe your older goals or create new ones, create kind of a game for yourself and ask yourself if you are on track, if you're off track, what needs to be tweaked along the way, because you don't want it to just all fall off. Like, oh, it's just a dumpster fire and I'm just going to let it be a dumpster fire. Just check in every day, refine, tweak, edit what you need to. And edit is one of the steps in I have an identity workbook actually. So I will link that for you because I think it really pertains to this episode. It goes over goals as well, but one of the steps in there is to edit. And another step is to refine. So if we need to edit something in or out of our life in order to have this identity that we want to create for ourselves, we need to edit, right? We need to add or subtract. We need to refine. So I give you the prompts and the tools on how to do that in this workbook. All of this to say that this is what we do in a monthly reset. We get super, super crystal clear on where we've been, why did we go there, where do we want to go, how are we getting there, what do we need to let go of, what do we need to edit out, what do we need to refine, and then we practice, we check in, we say, how are we staying on track throughout the month? We don't let it just build and build and build in a bad way and then just let it be a dumpster fire, which is exactly what I did this past month. So I recognize that and I am not going to harp on it. Like I said, don't beat yourself up. You can make a U-turn right now. You can change in an instant. Decide where you want to go. Who do you need to be to get there? What do you need to get there? Do you need support? Do you need to challenge limiting beliefs? What is it that you need to support you to get there? This work is so powerful, and I am so happy to have shared it with you today. If you like this episode, please go ahead and give me a 5-star review. I would be so grateful. And with that, let's have a fabulous, beautiful month, regardless of when you're listening to this. And with that, I will chat with you next week.